Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in again on our installment of Know Your Knights here at the Musings of the Knights of Rizal. As you know, the Know Your Knights episode of the Musings of the Knights of Rizal is about knowing, as it says, knowing your knights. Uh, we see knights on Facebook, they post, we see them on gatherings with the busy schedule in assemblies and all the excitement in assembly. We kind of are not focused on knowing the knights of a very distinguished knight, Sir Carlo from Belgium. Good morning, Sir Carlo.
Good morning, Sir Alvin. Nice to see you again.
Um, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, your family?
Yeah, I'm Sir Carlo Mattheusen. I'm a Knight of Rizal since 2014. I'm 60 years old. I have 3 children and 4 grandchildren out of my first marriage. And 10 years ago, I met a Filipina woman, Marilu Wedong, where we now have almost 8 years marriage. And my wife has 2 children, 2 sons, who are now living with us since 4 years. They are 18 and 17 years old. So that's a little bit my background.
Incidentally, I would like to tell our viewers that I met Sir Carlo during I think the first time I met him physically, personally, was during the International Assembly in
Antipolo.
Antipolo, Philippines in 2016, 18.
18.
Yes, and we were in the same bus together during the tour. As you know, if you have not been part of any of the assembly, there's a part in the program is touring the host city, and we had fun with the Belgian contingent, singing and exchanging some jokes. So, Sir Carlo, how did you learn about the Knights of Rizal?
Well, it happens during the Philippine Independence Days here in Belgium, celebrating every year around June 12th, not exactly, it's mostly on a Sunday. And some friends of my wife now, they are Knights of Rizal also. And through meeting them, through my wife meeting them on the Philippine Independence Day, getting some conversations and discussions about the Knights and Rizal, where they stood for. And for me, I've always been interested in some helping people, social aid when needed. And to do that on my own, I know that was very difficult. And thinking about what the Knights of Rizal also do here in the Philippines, here in Belgium, over the whole world, is trying to help the people who need. It came to me up that becoming a knight and doing it in group, it made for me possible to do what I was already planning to do, but as an individual was nearly impossible to do, or to be some kind of help that would be sufficient. Yeah.
Is there any specific instance where you witness, but when you witness personally, something that inspired you in the Knights of Rizal?
Yeah, for me, it's formally the brotherhood under the Knights and the friendship. Not only during the official gatherings or events or meetings, which we have in the chapter and in the area, but also out of that privately. We became a group of friends more than just brothers in the Knights of Rizal. And that inspired me the most in this whole organization.
Now, you've been a Knight of Rizal since 2014.
Yes.
And is there any specific activity that you look forward to in the Knights of Rizal?
Yeah, there's always the two high days in the Knights of Rizal is the birthday, the celebration of Dr. Jose Rizal on June 19, and of course the commemoration on December 30, which I, by the way, organized the virtual commemoration I organized this year. That was very successful. That are the two main things, and Philippine Independence Day. Philippine Independence Day, which the Knights of Rizal in Belgium are very much involved in the organization of that event. These are three events where I every year look very hard. And of course, this year, 2020 was a little less, and that's why I started up to do the virtual commemoration.
I imagine that you, being a member of the Knight of Rizal, and maybe even before then, you kind of got a glimpse of who Dr. Jose Rizal was. Is there any specific work of Dr. Rizal that inspired you?
Yeah, there's in fact one quote, and I have it also on my screensaver of my computer. That is the quote that he who does not know how to look back where he came from will never reach his destination. And I think that this is a very important one. Even how successful you are in life, earning a lot of money, successful in every way of life, if you cannot look back to where you came from, maybe from very modest, I'm from very modest parents, and I can say in my profession I'm successful, I'm not rich, but if I cannot look back where I come from and see that in that time I was happy, and if you are rich and you earn a lot of money and you can be happy, but if you cannot be happy with the smallest things in life, then you will never reach your goal as fully happiness. You can be happy when you have a lot of money, but that's not true happiness in life.
Now, talking about happiness, when you go to the Philippines, what makes you happy?
Being there is all one thing. Being
The
in
warm
the
weather.
is already.
What do you like about it? What makes this a happy experience for you? Is it the people, the food? If you can name one thing that makes you happy.
The kindness of the people. And even I went with some people, family of my wife, who don't have much to share. But when you come in their house, the first thing you have to do, sit down and eat. And they will take all the food they have and put on the table to share with you. And that is something that struck me the first time when I was there. That struck me very hard. And that's something that will always keep in my mind. That's something I will never forget.
Sure. As a non-Filipino member of the Knights of Rizal, is there commonality between your culture, the Belgian culture, and the Filipino culture that you most impressed with?
Yeah, that's you cannot compare that. I will give you an example. The first, I think the second time I was there with living in the house of my parents-in-law. Every day, a guy came in during lunchtime, took a plate out of the kitchen, took some food, sat in the door, eat his food, put the plate back, and was gone. And after 3 days, I asked my wife, "Who is he?" She said, "Yeah, he's a relative." I said, "Ah, okay. I don't think I can do that here in Belgium." That is something that also one point that will stay forever in my mind. It's common normal in the Philippines. This happens. Like I said, when you go to somebody, the first thing you have to do, sit down and eat. Yes. Even if they don't have much to share, they will share it with you.
Now, you mentioned about eating. Is there any particular food that you like in the Philippines?
Oh, there are several things. I like adobo. Adobo very much. Adobo.
Is it chicken mix or
the pork?
The
chicken, it doesn't matter. The sweetness and the sourness of the adobo, that the two tastes together, that it's really amazing.
That's very nice. Yeah, that's a staple in Philippine cuisine.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the Knights of Rizal, is there any specific knight that you look up to?
There is one friend, is of course, is a Belgian also. He is now the consul ad hoc for the Philippines. We have a good relationship together because in a very special time of need 2 years ago, we were in distress to organize the Philippine Independence Day because our venue was suddenly not allowed anymore. And in 3 months' time, we had to search for a new venue. And us together with the cultural attaché of the embassy, we put up a strong program. We had 17 groups with all various cultural dances, traditional songs. We had a show for more than 4 hours. And this guy, working together with this guy, and then Madame Lisa Estelitza in the cultural attaché here in Belgium and the Philippine embassy. These are the two persons which I appreciate the most. One in the organization, of course, the attaché is outside of the organization, but she's very much involved with the Knights of Rizal also.
I think one of the advantages of the Knights of Rizal, because it is a registered organization and under Republic Act 646, and it is thereby recognized by the Philippine government, it opens doors for you, access to official personalities that could help you with your ideas on how to make your celebrations better, or how to make your altruism be more effective. Now, in terms of Jose Rizal, Jose Rizal is a prolific writer. He's a sculptor, a painter, also a sports person. What specific aspect of Rizal's life do you like?
What can I say?
Is it him being a traveler? Is it him being multilingual?
Yeah, that one thing, and with me, and so very sorry that here in Belgium the official government don't want to follow our question. You know, El Filibustrismo is published here in Belgium, in Ghent. We had a few years ago the 125-year celebration of the publishing of the El Filibustro in Ghent. That I see all over the world. I see a lot of statues and markers on Rizal, on places where he's been, where he's lived. We have two places in Belgium here where he was in his life, in Ghent and in Brussels, and there are only two small markers. There is no street name, no anything else, a place that's called to him. Even he was toch pretty much important when he published El Filibustrismo here in Belgium. So that is not very much recognized, and that's something I don't have the power to make this done, but that should be more recognized here. And of course, his travels all over the world, trying to fighting for the equality of the Filipinos against the Spaniard conquerors, of course, occupiers. That is what I admire the most, and that is also what I try to do in my way as a Knight of Rizal, fighting the inequality, especially the poverty of some people, and try to help them where they need it.
Now, you being a Knight of Rizal, and you learned the first time you learned about Rizal's life story, his travels, his writings, his advocacies. What touched your heart when you heard the story about the Knights of Rizal, and somebody telling you his story, and you said, "Oh, this is a special man."
Yeah. Most of all, he never took up a fight in the real world of fighting. He only did it by his writing, and then being trialed, which was like you call it now a fake trial. That's the fake is the modern word, a fake trial, and being executed for just putting his thoughts in writing, and yeah, putting to death and being executed. That struck me the most, just for writing what he thinks and therefore being executed. That was the first thing when I heard about Rizal that struck me the most.
Now, you've seen Knights of Rizal all over during assemblies and even in your local chapter. For you, what is the ideal character of a Knight of Rizal?
I think compassion. Compassion with your fellow knights, with your fellow human beings, for those who need it, for those who are in distress, and try to help them to get a better way of life. And even with small things, you can help them very much forward. I think that's one of the most important things. And that's also the reason why I became a Knight of Rizal.
Now, if you were to invite somebody to become a Knight of Rizal, what would you tell them?
Now, first of all, it would has to be somebody who is, of course, interested in Rizal, in the way of his life, also in his fight. And then I come always back to the same topic. It should be always be somebody who needs to be compassionate and has the same values that I share on being a Knight of Rizal, helping others, not just being a knight for being a knight and being in a group of people. No, as a Knight of Rizal, you have to work and try to help the ones who need it. And if that somebody has the same mindset that I have, I would ask him to come to the Knights of Rizal, and together we are strong. Stronger than when you're alone, an individual, or with 2 or 3 people. In a group, you can get more things realized than alone.
So really, you're kind of, is it right to say that you would be able to filter by determining if a potential knight has the same mindset as you, and then you will invite them to the organization?
Yeah, because
now,
if I would invite somebody to come a Knight of Rizal, I would have a talk with him, and I talk about the Knights of Rizal, talk about how he thinks, because I see, unfortunately, there are some knights, they are a Knight of Rizal, and that's it. They are with the group, and that's it. And I find that very unfortunate. I was not a shame, but if you become in this organization, you don't be in this organization just to be in the organization.
Okay. Now, how physically, how does a Knight of Rizal look for you? Your ideal Knight of Rizal, like for instance, you're in a balcony, you're looking down, and you see all these Knights of Rizal. Which one would you pinpoint and say, "Oh, that's a Knights of Rizal"? So definitely talking about physical. I mean, like stature, the way they hold themselves, comb their hair maybe, or what character, what physical character will tell you, oh, that's a Knights of Rizal?
It would be somebody who's wearing his uniform with dignity, being modest, not like a peacock with all his medals and everything. Here I am, I wear this, I have a stash, I'm a KGR or KGCR, and I have all these medals. That's for me not no. A Knight of Rizal can be just a KR with his only one medal, but wearing it with dignity, with proud that he has that medal, that he is a Knight of Rizal. That is the one that will, I think, this one is a real one.